Hi, friends. Welcome back. Good morning. This is Dr. Shayee, as always, on the IMG Chronicles. Welcome back to our channel. All the new subscribers, welcome. I'm so excited this morning. I'm so pumped. I'm sure you can see that. This morning, we have a very, very, very special guest. She's special for two reasons. One, she's our first guest on IMG Chronicles. IMG Chronicles stands for International Medical Graduates. And like I always remind you, and I tell to the new viewers, this is something I do based on my personal experience, my personal journey. It is just all mine. Feel free to share your comments, your suggestions on how to improve this. And our guest today is actually here in response to one of the comments I got. And that question was, Dr. Shayee, for those of us who are not yet in Canada, who are young graduates, how do we even begin to navigate the system? If I haven't done housemanship, if I do not have work experience, how do I even begin to think about getting into Canada, And today we're just talking about you and more. So join me in welcoming our esteemed guest of honor, Dr. Ufoma Akpan. Over to you, Dr. Akpan.
I'm not an esteemed guest. I'm just Ufoma. But I'm glad to be here. Shayee is amazing. She has, she didn't tell you, but I'm one day older than her.
That's true. We December babies.
So it's amazing to be here anyway. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about. I think I'm just going to let you lead. So I am also an IMG myself. I'm currently doing my GP training in the UK. And we'll talk more about how I got into that pathway as we get into the gist of things. So Shayee has played a role in me actually being here in the UK doing GP training. I remember when I was still doing, all the MCC exams. And there was one night, I don't know if you remember, we went to Katie's class for a QE. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, wow, this sounds like news to me. Please tell me more.
Class. I was depressed. I really was depressed because when I came to Canada, I didn't have an understanding of what it took to get into residency. As far as I was concerned, once you apply for residency, you're going to get in. So I didn't know that there were some special requirements or things. So I did at that time, they still used to do what they call EE. We don't do EE anymore. At that time, we used to do EE. So I did before coming to Canada because my plan was do EE, do QE1, do your NAC all in one. So I did everything in 1 year. And my plan was, okay, do it quickly. And then once you've done it, apply for residency and get into residency. So I didn't realize that even though I passed those exams, I passed them, I didn't realize that the scores were very, very important. And unfortunately, that's one thing you need to, if you're doing those MCC exams, you need to aim for a very high score, as high as possible, because especially your QE1 score matters. Because if you pass your QE1 with a low score, unfortunately, like me, I couldn't go back to redo my QE1, right? So in fact, it's even better to fail it and redo it and get a better score than to pass it with a low score and you can't do anything about it. Anyway, so that's what happened to me. So the first year I was in Canada, I finished everything in fact, I did my EE in March, passed it, did my NAC in September, I passed it, did my QE1 in November, I also passed it. But my scores, they were okay, but of course they're not competitive enough because I didn't realize how important the scores were. Anyway, so let's fast forward to the next, the camp season. So time for camp season. I was like, okay, I'm getting this residency, everything. And I got only one invitation for an interview, and that was for public health.
Dr. Ufuma, do you mind if we pause right there?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, there's so much to share. And I'm just thinking about our viewers who don't know the meaning of these terminologies, the exams that we're throwing out. And, and I just want to give a little more context into your background and mine for those who don't know anything about me as well. So I'm an IMG, which I'm in Canada. Ufoma is in the UK. She's Canadian too. We were both here in Canada. So I did my medical education in Nigeria. So I'm an IMG from Nigeria, did not complete postgraduate training in Nigeria, found myself in Canada with the same goal as Ufoma as well. So when I got to Canada, I graduated med school in 2006, I think, and I got to Canada in 2014. So I was 8 years, no, well, whatever. I knew that I was more than 10 years post-medical school graduation when I started this journey in Canada. Ufoma trained in Ghana. She's Nigerian from her name. She trained in Ghana and did other things, and also got to Canada at least 10 years post-graduation. So we were not young applicants by any chance, because we had applicants who took their exams in medical school. So in Canada, you are on the same level as a recently graduated medical student when you come in. So you've got Canadians who went to study abroad because they couldn't get into medical school in Canada, and now they come back home and want to apply into residency. They are also considered IMGs. It's just that they are IMGs of Canadian birth. And you have us, the aliens, who have acquired a citizenship, a right to live here, either as a permanent resident or you're a Canadian citizen, by virtue of maybe a work permit or whatever, but you're here, right? And you're 10 years post-graduation, you're set in your ways. We don't know if you're trainable, you're at risk, right? Compared to the fresh graduates who can be molded into whatever shape or form. So that is us. So the competition is steep. And that is what Ufoma was trying to say, in that she didn't know how steep it was. She didn't know a lot of these unseen obstacles, right? Getting into the country. And the exams we're talking about is called the MCC. MCC stands for Medical Council of Canada. And you do a series of exams. The first one, the evaluation exam, which is the EE, but now, thankfully, you do not require that anymore. That has been taken out. So fresh out of, even while you're in medical school, if you're a medical student, you're listening to this, if you're in final year, you know this is what you want to do, you want to leave the country, you want to come to Canada, this is the time to start. Start sourcing the materials. There are all sort of groups, online groups right now, encouraging you, that have their study groups. So be proactive. This is the time. And during your house job or NYC year, that is the time to study. Yeah. Or before, make use of every available minute, because you do not want to waste a single time when you're done and you want to jump right in, unlike those of us who came here 10 years later to begin the process. So thank you so much, Ufoma. This was just a background to how we got here and who you are. The last blog, I mentioned that I was going to dedicate the next one to those who did not match or who did not even get an interview this year, because interview season has just been over. The new intake of residents for the coming year, they got their results last week, so a very tiny fraction of the IMG community is rejoicing right now that they got spot. But let me tell you how hard this is. Imagine across the country, all the thousands of doctors that come here every year, wanting to get into the system through residency, all the hopefuls, all the Canadians who went to study abroad. And in my province where I live, there were 10 slots for family medicine countrywide. That's what people are fighting for. There was one slot for family medicine in my program, for pediatrics in my program in University of Calgary. And across the country, the most slots is family medicine. Then you have internal medicine, which is just half of that, which is just 5. And then you have specialties where one here, one there. And some specialties, most surgical specialties do not even have a designated spot for you as an IMG. So automatically you can't even apply to some certain positions because you're an IMG, So that is how it is. However, remember, there's some people who got in, So right now is a season where the few who got in are getting ready to start residency, and the bulk of everyone else is sitting down and wondering what next. I was there at a time. My friend, our guest, was also at that point, and that was just what she was about to delve in before we did a long pause. So Ufoma, over to you. I just wanted our viewers to, have more context into what we're talking about here today. So over to you, Ufoma.
Yeah, I think I was getting too excited because
it's exciting that we can share this experience for others, So it's exciting. I'm excited too. I'm just jumping over my words. So please, you have the floor.
So because anyway, so like I was saying, unfortunately, which is what Shayee is saying, I've been there. The first year of the CARMS cycle, I got one invitation. Unfortunately, I didn't match. I was really sad about it because I never expected that was going to be the outcome. And then subsequent CARMS cycles, I didn't even get any invitation for any interview, and of course no invitation, no match anyway. So I have been there, I have cried, I have but I think I've asked myself, what do I think that's the next thing. If you don't match, it's very devastating, it's very depressing. Like I was saying, like there was this time that I was really depressed and I got talking to Shayee, and then we got into talking about ourselves, different options. What do we do next? We've been through this. That was after your first CARMS cycle, I think. So, and you didn't make it that first time. So I think we've been through this CARMS cycle. The next thing is what next? So this is what next? What are your options? So I think the first thing is, taking a step back and asking yourself, what do I really want? Do I really still want to be a doctor? Or am I willing to do something else? And if I still want to be a doctor, am I willing to put in the work that needs to be done for me to be a doctor? Of course, trying again for CAMS. There have been people that have tried for CAMS over and over again, and eventually they got in. But of course, they had to change things in their CV. There are several things. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go into all that, but of course, for example, getting into some kind of clinical attachment might help. Maybe improving your NAC score can also help. Unfortunately, like what happened to me, if you've gotten a low pass in QE1, it's quite unfortunate that you were not allowed to rewrite it. I wish that were the case, but unfortunately not. But I think if you try to make up with your NAC score, that can help as well. For some people, they've had to go back home, try to get some more recency of practice, see if that helps. I know some people have tried to get into some research, because that's something else that some programs, look at. I don't know, Shayee, you can highlight more, having been in residency. Some programs, look at research. So I have had some friends that have, gone back and done some research, different kinds of things. And then some people have gone into being clinical assistants. That's another discussion for another day.
That's another discussion we'll talk about.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so that's another discussion for another day. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
A discussion for another day. But I think the most important thing really is deciding, do I still want to practice medicine? If I'm ready to practice medicine, am I ready to make the necessary, steps, or, the necessary steps or things I need to do for me to practice, right? And then also there are options, that having a backup, which Shayee had a backup at the time to go to the UK, which is one of the things that motivated me to try going to the UK. There are also I have to actually have two friends that went to Australia using their MCC. Okay, and Shayee
MCC is the Canadian exams, right? So using their results from the Canadian exams, they made it to Australia.
Yeah, so maybe that Shayee can talk about that another day, but that's one option as well. So if you have your QE2 and the whole whatever, I know two people personally that went to Australia, with that pathway. So it's worked for some people. Then I mean, my case, I went to the UK. Even now in the UK, they're actually accepting people that have QE2 background and also even USMLE if you've passed those exams. I know a couple of people now that have actually applied and are in the process. In fact, one has just gotten GMC license based on that. So that's one, option. And then if you don't have that, you can do the PLAB exams. Now, the beauty about it is in UK, there are many opportunities for doctors. They are not restrictive in the UK with regards to IMGs the way they are in Canada. So for example, when I was applying for GP training, they left the slots open to everybody. They were not slots that were specific to IMGs the way it is in Canada, like what Shayee was talking about. There's nothing limited. So for example, once you get above a certain score, and you pass your exams, then, you can get into training. Now, there are different pathways for getting into different types of training, but we're not going to go into that, but those are just options. But, like I said, think about what you want. What are your next steps? Now, if you want to come to the UK, there are sacrifices to be made. Are you going to come with your family? Are you going to leave your family? Those kind of things. I have lots of friends that have left Canada because they've weighed their options and they've thought to themselves, do I want to be a doctor? Do I not want to be a doctor? And they've decided, they still want to be doctors. And they've decided to make the sacrifice and take that extra step of coming here. And most of the people that I know that have come here, of course, there's an initial time of adjustment, getting to understand the system. But, if you are somebody that is willing to learn and you're teachable, and try to be friendly, of course, I think, you can make it in the system. And yeah, I've been here and it's been good. I'm almost finishing my first year. It's amazing. I'm done with my first year. I have 3 months to go for my first year and I'm done. And it's amazing. Anyway, so I think that's just in a nutshell what I think, are, several options. She can add to that, but what I think these are several options that are available if unfortunately you didn't pass or you didn't make it with your CAM cycle. And we've been through it. We know how it is. And yeah, hopefully at the end, we're all going to laugh and celebrate and come out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ufoma, that was so heartfelt. Thank you for bearing all of you, because I know it's emotional. It's an emotional time for us. And, Ufoma has got her kids back here in Canada while she's in training in the UK. And that's hard. That's hard for a mom to do. But she's almost done her first year of training, 2 short years, and she's all done, and she's coming back home to practice. taking us back to why I do this, right? Why does Shayee, with everything on her plate, why is she juggling the IMG Chronicles? The reason I do this is to make the journey shorter for other people. And we do that by sharing our experiences, not just mine and that of my friends, of colleagues who we may not be friends, but they're colleagues. And if I feel they've got something to offer you, I'll totally invite them on to come talk to us, So again, thank you, Ufoma. And today's audience, we're talking to our colleagues here in Canada who tried the CAN cycle and didn't get in. Remember their options, and that's important for your mental health. Ufoma was talking about her depression. I was depressed. I gained 10 kilograms, not 10 pounds, 10 kilogram in this journey, getting to this point. It takes its toll on your mental health. You forget who you are. You're like, okay, let's not go into that, but the whole point is sit down, evaluate, plan. Timing is important. Take note of those timelines and make up your mind. Okay, do I want to go into medicine when I get to Canada or not? There's a choice. You have a degree and you have several career pathways open to you. You can go into clinical research. You can go into pharmaceuticals, right? You can do different things with your degree. Remember, you're educated, irrespective, you are a postgraduate or older, and then if I want to do medicine, how much time do I want to commit to getting into the Canadian system? How many times do I want to try? And residency is just a pathway. There's also the practice ready assessments, which I would be talking about on this, right? And if I try it and I don't make it, how many times do I want to make another attempt? It's not just emotionally draining, it's also financially draining. So you need to talk to yourself and answer these hard questions, and Ufoma has so eloquently told us about how she got there. And she did the exams while living here, traveled over there, took the clinical exam, and back here. And if we look at my situation, I also had a plan B to preserve my mental sanity after almost 4 years of living in Canada, So I did the PLAB exams, got my GMC license, secured a training position as my plan B, but my plan B and my plan A met. So I got a position there, I got a position here, and of course, this was what I wanted, and I grabbed it with every limb I've got. And we're still in the process. I graduate in 2 months. I can't wait. Thank you. Keep it until 2 months time though. So yeah, well, thank you. So again, we understand, we've been there. And for the young ones who are just thinking about leaving Nigeria, start the process early, ask questions. I have the opportunity on this blog to read your comments. My email contact is going to be down below. You're going to have it posted on the screen, but it is info at Dr. Shayee, spelled SHAYEE, info at drshayee.com. Yeah, for that blooper. So whatever bloopers, this was a video just meant to educate you. And keep your questions coming. If you want me to talk about something else that you didn't quite get a hang of, let me know. Dr. Ufoma, we're going to give you this floor for your last nuggets for our audience. What should they go home with today, if nothing else?
What should they go home with? I think firstly, Shayee has said everything. I don't know what else I can add.
Okay. So if you say that, I'm just going to say bye.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ufomsky. Remember to like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Join our vibrant, growing IMG community right here. We're happy to welcome you, and thank you for watching. Mwah. That kiss was for Dr. Ufoma. Bye, Ufoma. Thank you. Thank you for joining.